Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Episode number 420, Drink Until You podcast, the only podcast that lasts until the last drop. How the hell is your Sunday going? How the hell was your week? Hope everybody's okay. I hope you're safe out there. I'm drinking once again my spiked coffee. Spiked it with 100 proof rum. Let's go ahead and have our first drink. If you got them, drink them. Bottoms up. Cheers, everybody. Let me go ahead and shout it out. Super Bowl Sunday. Don't drink and drive. Treat yourself to an Uber. Treat yourself to a Lyft. Treat yourself to a Waymo. I looked up Waymo the other day here in Dallas. It's supposed to be released in 2026. It's still not out yet. Maybe another month. I don't know. Maybe another 2 months. It's like by the time they release, half the year's gonna be gone. I really want to use it. I'll pay you money, Waymo, to take your service down to the bar and back. But yeah, I need to be able to use it. I don't know what the deal is. You know what it is? How do they even do it with all of the construction around? That's a great question. I mean, I guess the automated cars have some sort of, you just follow the lanes. So even if they're painting the lanes on the highway or the street, it'll just follow that. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. But it is supposedly here in Dallas, and they are going to release it. I just don't know when. I'd love to take one, Waymo. But yeah, just be careful. Super Bowl Sunday. We know you're going to be drinking at your friend's house. For me, I'm staying home. I'll flip on the Super Bowl. I'm just really, the NFL, and this has really happened over the past 3 years. It's like dwindled less and less every year. There was one point where I was watching college football and every Cowboys game and some. Any other game I was watching Detroit a little bit there for a little while. But yeah, it's just kind of dwindled for me, man. I'm not into it. I can't, I've dropped off from the college football. I spent 5 years jumping on a college football bandwagon trying to be like, okay, I'm going to make a connection with one of these teams and never leave. And it never happened. You know what I mean? And I jumped on some good ones too. Oklahoma, the Sooners. Whenever they had their amazing season, I think they didn't end up winning the national championship, but they only lost like 1 or 2 games the entire season. They were really good. Alabama, of course, Roll Tide. I jumped on that bandwagon. I thought that was going to be my final, okay, this one, I'm just sticking with this. But it just didn't stick. So I guess my sports palette is changing a little bit. And I am excited about things like NASCAR, which is they did some races this week. Daytona 500 is next Sunday. So every Sunday from that, I'll be watching racing instead of football. I mean, football will be over, obviously. But yeah, dude, I mean, hockey's been up, even though they're on break right now. They're on Olympic break, which is cool, I say this every year. I'm kind of selfish in the way that I don't want any of my players to be selected for the team, for their respective teams, whether it be USA, Finland, Canada, whatever. I don't want them to be selected just because I want them home resting and getting ready for the second half of the season. But, I get it. It's an honor. You want to play for your country. So, who am I to say they shouldn't do it? So yeah, good luck for everybody in there. You always got to watch out for Canada. I know that for sure. I was thinking about watching hockey movies in the downtime of NHL being on break. But I think honestly, I mean, there's going to be enough. I love the Winter Olympics, honestly, more than the Summer Olympics. There's going to be enough stuff on TV, sports-wise. I love the speed skating. I guess the luge is kind of cool. Seems kind of scary going down head first, though. Whatever. Didn't they used to go down feet first, or is that a different event? I don't know. But every clip I've seen, these chicks are going down head first, and it's like, oh my God. You make a wrong move, I mean, that could break your neck running into the wall. It's kind of crazy. They're not going slow. It's blades on ice. They're not moving slow. But yeah, I really do like the Winter Olympics. So looking forward to that a little bit. Even though I will be honest, I'm a little bitter toward Team USA. I said this a couple of weeks back. It just seems like the brotherhood. If you're not a part of the clique or the brotherhood, you're not getting on the team. And I mean literal brotherhood. Like Matthew Tkachuk, yes, absolutely should be a Team USA player. His brother, Brady Tkachuk, no. It's just because they're brothers that he's on the team. It feels like Brady Tkachuk is not a star player. I'm sorry. He's just not. But, and I get it too. It kind of adds an element for the team of, you mess with one brother, you're going to mess with the other. And if you're messing with if the other brother jumps in, everybody's going to jump in, So I like that tenacity. You do need that toughness. But, yeah, like I said, I'm slightly bitter. A little bitter. It should literally just be the best players in the NHL, not because it's someone's brother. Anyways, UFC last night was a lot of fun. Some great fights in there. I know I retweeted it. Did they already take it down? I think that's what happened. But I retweeted it for a reason. Because there's basically, I can't remember who it was now since they took the tweet down. Whoever was doing the fight where the dude was out on his feet like that, his opponent just super ugly knee, and the guy was pretty much outstanding at that point. And then he throws a super nasty right elbow, catches the guy again, and then 3 more shots before the ref could get over there and call the fight. Because the guy's still standing, you know what I mean? I think that one was Herb Dean. But the guy was still standing, so it's like you don't really know he's out until his hands are just kind of by. It all happened so fast. But, yeah, that was a pretty brutal knockout. And you don't see one like that every day. Bautista Oliveira, main event, that was a good fight. Bautista is just, and they were talking about this on the broadcast, but the way he transitioned, because Oliveira tried to take him down at one point, and Bautista squirmed, of course, found his position on top, and then that's pretty kind of where the fight ended. He got Oliveira in the crucifix, which is one of my favorite positions. It always calls back to those early UFC days. I can't remember. I think the guy was in a karate gi. And the other dude he was fighting was just a big old wrestling looking dude. Kind of fat, But you can tell, he can be fat, but he's fucking strong as hell. But anyways, the karate gi guy just jumped all over him, got him on the ground, had his left arm trapped with his legs and had his right arm trapped with his, one of his arms. And then he just took that elbow and just, hammered it into the guy's temple. And, he just went limp. Of course he's out. He had no defense. But yeah, so Bautista gets him in the crucifix. And, kind of out of panic or, needing to get out of that position because of how, little you can defend yourself. Oliveira kind of, squirms and bucks and tries to get him off. Well, that just transitions Bautista into another position, into another. It's just like the way he chained the grappling together to eventually get the guillotine was just, a thing of beauty, dude. Like, I understand people's gripes with the wet blanket thing they always talk about, which I do appreciate. Like, I'm not talking shit on someone who just drags someone else down to the mat for 5 rounds and that person can't, do anything about it. it's like technically, I mean, they if there were no rules here, he would implement that same strategy and use dirty tactics to take the guy out or knock him out, whatever. So that's technically the superior style for that fight. I do love what the UFC is trying to do with the finishing bonuses. They're trying to give them a reason to, regardless of your game plan. If you're a ground guy, then you better work on submitting him, not just holding him on the mat, because you want that finishing bonus. If you're a stand up and throw hands and kicks kind of guy, yeah, finish him. That's the only way you're going to get that extra bonus. I just like that. It kind of, sure, you could wet blanket someone and not finish them every fight and never receive the bonus and still become champion, that way. Win the championship. I kind of mix those two things. But, yeah, you won't ever get that bonus because you're not finishing people. I like the encouragement to finish people either in one way or another. Submit them, knock them out, make them quit. Whatever. You just that makes for a more exciting fight. So I like that. Other than the little glitches that Paramount Plus is having, I'm overall happy. They make it super easy to use. I mean, they do it in 3 different languages: Spanish, Portuguese, and English, which I think is cool as hell. And they're not, they make the broadcast for each one they label it really well, easy to find. I accidentally clicked on the Spanish one. I was like, what the I was like, there's no way this is just in Spanish. That's how I learned about it. It's like, there's no way this is in Spanish only. And I saw the options going back. But the thing I love about it too, I touched on this last week or a couple of weeks ago at the first Paramount event. I love the fact that I could, which I often do, I could fall asleep right before the main event and wake up in the morning and just watch it. Like, I love that playback feature. That is so cool. That's actually how I do the Dallas Stars, man. When the Dallas Stars are playing, it doesn't matter what time they say they're playing. I'm not watching the game right then. It usually goes something like this. It's usually the Sabres game and the Flyers game first. Those usually start at 6, being on the East Coast. And then, mix in a Columbus Blue Jackets game if either of those teams are off. And all the while, the Stars have already started their game, but with the Victory Plus app, I can stop at any time. So usually what ends up happening is I'm catching up on my other games, like I said, the Sabres or the Flyers, whatever. And then when I decide to start the Stars game on the app, on my TV, I just fast forward through all the bullshit. I fast forward through a ref not wanting to drop the puck. I fast forward through an analysis. I fast forward even through the little space in between where maybe they dropped the puck and it got flipped out of play and everybody's resetting. Like, I don't need to watch them reset. You know what I mean? So what ends up happening is by the time the third period comes around, using that kind of fast forward feature, I usually watch the third period live after catching up. And in the matter of 20-30 minutes, just for that fast forward feature. It's so cool, man. It really helps me manage when I get to see the game. And of course I have to stay away from social media because that will ruin it. And in some cases I have to stay away from the broadcast of like the Sabres game or the broadcast of like the Columbus Blue Jackets game because they're going around in their intermission and talking about the other games. So that's totally happened to me before. And it kind of blew my little plan out of the water there. But yeah, it works for the most part. And I end up watching the third period in real time. Or, if I get behind that far, then, it's not a big deal. I still get to watch it. So, let's go ahead and have another drink, everybody. Cheers. So, yeah, loved it. Loved the UFC. That was a great main event. I don't know if I said Bautista came out on top in that one. Let's see. So the next event would be, okay, so it is, the next one is Strickland Hernandez. I'm actually really excited for that. And that one is on the 21st. So let's see. Yeah, not next weekend, but the weekend after will be the that Strickland Hernandez fight. I love the way they talked about Fluffy Hernandez too on the broadcast. They just talked about how suffocating he is, and I'm like, dude, that is exactly like a perfect way to describe him. Like he's going to, for lack of a better analogy, drag you into deep waters and drown you. Like that's the game plan for everybody, you know. And I just was like, I love that. I love that the announcers say that, which, you know, confirms kind of, you know, maybe I didn't have the word to put to it. Maybe I didn't picture him as suffocating, but that was the word I was searching for when trying to define his style. Now, I know Sean Strickland, leading up to that Adesanya fight, he was doing something super intelligent, which that Adesanya fight was a 5-round fight, and Strickland was training for like 10, 12, 15 rounds. You know what I mean? Like just to be sure he wasn't going to gas out by the 5th round. And that was just really, I mean, he beat him and he looked fresh. I mean, he looked like, you know, crazy cardio, dude. So, and Strickland's tough too, you know, like I'm not trying to take anything away from Strickland at all. So, all that to say, it's going to be a great fight. I'm excited. I got my money on Hernandez. If I were a betting man, I'd put my money on Hernandez. I just think he has more skills than Strickland. I'm not saying Strickland's not tough. I'm not saying Strickland can't up his cardio to last, you know, all the rounds. I just think Hernandez has more weapons. Who else? I'm trying to look for big names on this card too. Yeah, it's just kind of. I thought that was Leon Edwards. No, he's not. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any big names, but it's still going to be a lot of fun to watch. So anyway, moving on. I love this I just started a new YouTube series in my YouTube Shorts section of my page. And, dude, I gotta tell you guys, I just dropped this clip earlier this week. I think I dropped it on Tuesday. But what I did was, you know, after all, it just seems like this year in the NHL, the goalie fights are just, I mean, there's been more of them than I've seen in a long time. You know, which is cool, man. That's old school hockey right there to me. You know what I mean? Like, the goalie down at the other end all by himself, seeing the opposing team's goalie go after one of his players is like, that's how it starts. That goalie all by himself is like, oh, hell no. We usually let, you know, the players take care of the players, and, you know, you're not going to jump in on one of my players. And so, you know, madness ensues. But it's super exciting for the fans, you know, fan like me. That it literally, like, the nostalgia, even though these guys didn't play 20 years ago, the nostalgia that image brought to my mind was awesome. I loved it. You know, and so I decided to do this thing. I took this AEW Fight Forever game, and I decided to do starter versus starter, backup versus backup in a 2 versus 2 match, a tag team match, as you would call it. So after that Vasilevsky Swayman fight, I kind of got the idea to do it, but with backups included. And it was just a lot of fun to create. That's the point I'm trying to get to. Like, go and watch the clip if you want to. But it was just, dude, I don't think I've ever laughed so hard creating and editing a clip. You know what I mean? Because the premise behind it is I wasn't controlling any of the characters. Once they were created, I let the computer figure out, with their stats and with their demeanor and with everything I input on the character. I let the computer decide. And dude, in the clip Swayman, like in the editing process, I don't think I could put it all in the clip that you'll see on YouTube. So there's some that naturally had to be cut out because I had to keep it under a certain amount of time to keep it as short. But yeah, some of the stuff that got cut out, Swayman, just that character I created, he's my favorite character so far he's my favorite goalie I've created so far in the game. And I've only created 4. Like I said, this was the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Boston Bruins. But yeah, dude, just how specific you can be with creating the characters is what made it such a special, kind of funny thing, Yeah, I mean, obviously, date of birth, country of origin, height, weight. They even give you like a temperament of each character, of the character you're creating. What kind of temperament does he have? So I Google searched and I looked up, what is Korpisalo like? What is his temperament? What do teammates say about him? So doing all this research to create the most accurate characters possible to give the best scenario of what if possible. You know what I mean? Like, what if these guys did have a tag team match? But, dude, it was just so funny. And like I said, Swayman, my abs were hurting. The next day, I was laughing so damn hard. There's one part where he throws, it wasn't Vasilevsky, it was Johansson, Tampa Bay's backup goalie. He throws Johansson into the turnbuckle. Johansson hits his back. It's like, and he's kind of sitting there with his arms on the rope. And here comes Swayman across the fucking ring. And I know there, the sounds would be the same for anybody. Like if I created any character and, they fought each other and they did this exact same move, the sound would be the same. That's just like a fixed sound they put in the game when you do this specific move. But I swear to God, dude, there was something extra on it. I can't explain it, but the computer took it upon itself to like put a little extra slap or pop to it somehow. And dude, I was just having so much fun doing it. And I was having so much fun, it was almost detrimental. I couldn't get through the editing process. It was just so funny to like think if this were a real life scenario and using all the accurate information that I could possibly input, you can kind of assume this is how Swayman would actually act in this sort of scenario. But yeah, dude, it was just too damn funny. So that's kind of my new thing, is when there's a goalie fight, I'm going to recreate it, backups and all. So yeah, it was this time around, it was Vasilevsky and Johansson versus Swayman and Korpisalo. And the way I showed that they were the backup goalies is the backup goalies only got the Jason Voorhees mask, the old school hockey mask. So that actually made it a little bit easier. I didn't have to edit their face so much. I just really had to get the hair color right for the backup goalies. But yeah, dude, it lets you go so in depth. So for example, Korpisalo, one of his personality features that I did find out through research was that he's known to be very calm and very obviously being a goalie, defensive. So those were the traits I put into him. But dude, even him, like, he went off at some parts of that. Like, he got his ass kicked a little bit, but then he went off. It was awesome. So that's my new thing. Be looking for that if it happens. If there is a goalie fight for any reason in the Olympics, you better believe I'm taking those 2 guys from that country and fighting the 2 guys from the other country in a AEW, just 2 versus 2 match. So then I got to thinking about it too, and like dream matchups And the only reason this works so well is because of the AEW setup. I mean, it's been this way for a long time. The wrestling game in general, they want you to be able to create any sort of wrestling character that you want. You know what I mean? So therefore, they give you a lot of options. Now, I will say on the nicknames, there weren't as many options as I was hoping for. So, for example, Swayman for the Boston Bruins, his nickname is the Bulldog. If that kind of tells you anything about his personality. But the closest I could get was Pitbull. Vasilevsky, for example, is the Big Cat. Well, the closest I could get was Cat. You know what I mean? So it's not perfect. It's not foolproof. But it is a fun idea. And I started thinking about it too, like taking it to other characters. Like think of any fantasy matchup from any video game character ever. You know what I mean? So you could do like Solid Snake versus, I don't know, what's the Halo guy's name? Captain, oh my God, I can't even think of it. But yeah, I mean, that's basically the idea. Like the main characters from each game, creating their profile, doing the research to be sure it's as accurate as possible, and then letting the computer take over. That's fun as hell, dude, and it's actually really funny. I was on FaceTime with one of my kids while the computer was doing its thing. They're like, "Dad, what are you doing?" Because I was just laughing while it's happening, and I was like, well, kind of explained it. I created these characters, and I'm letting the computer decide who's tougher, who's stronger, whatever. And I mean, obviously, my kid doesn't have the extensive NHL knowledge that I have, so it wasn't going to be as funny. They don't understand the humor in Swayman picking up Vasilevsky over his head and pile driving him. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, it was so damn funny. I even thinking about it now, I'm having to like get myself to not start cracking up. But yeah, so I started thinking about applying that to just different video game characters. If you have any ideas and you're like, oh my God, it would be so cool to see this character versus this character, or, take it to whatever sport you watch, or, oh dude, I even think about this. I could totally do it with NASCAR. When two drivers are heated, like last season, Christopher Bell got yelled at and he just kind of sat there like a child almost. I think he just kind of sat there because he knew there was nothing he could say to justify his move that he made. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. He just kind of had to take the ass chewing and move on. He won the race, so I'll take your ass chewing, but I still won. But yeah, dude, you could totally do it with NASCAR when they get beef with each other. Take them to the ring. That's the ultimate. This is the ultimate deciding factor with no outside influence. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not playing as any of these characters. We're letting the computer decide with the stats given. Here's the only downfall that I did notice. Vasilevsky is like, I don't know, 6'5", 6'7". He's a tall, giant human. But when, after everybody was created, everybody was pretty much the same height, like it kind of sucked that they didn't put in that detail. Like, what's the point in asking me their height if when you create characters, they all look the same height? One should be 6'7" and the other should be 5'10", you know what I mean? But they were all just average height. So that was the only thing that wasn't, completely, I guess you can't make a giant in the game. What if you wanted to do Andre the Giant? I don't know. He's going to be the same size as Stone Cold Steve Austin? That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, dude, go watch that. Go check it out. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear it. You can write me at drinkintillyoupodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at drinkintillyu, Facebook, Drink Until You Podcast, Instagram, Drink Until You Podcast as well. Dude, I haven't updated my Instagram. I have not put a picture on my, I guess my timeline, would you call it? I've done stories and stuff, and those are fleeting. Those only last a day, and then they go away. But I haven't put a picture onto my timeline in like 3 years, 4 years. And I finally did the other day, just kind of promoting this AEW wrestling thing that I have going on now. But yeah, dude, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some people on there thought I wasn't even podcasting anymore. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're seeing my story, you're probably like, oh, this guy's inactive. He just never closed down his page. He never posts to his timeline. It's like, I like Instagram. It's okay. But I like written word. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm drawn to Twitter. I like reading what people are writing, and I like writing my own things. And I'm not a photographer. I don't have a zillion pictures in my phone to upload week after week after week. I did at one point, and that's how I accumulated what I have on my wall, on my whatever timeline. But yeah, I ran out. Like, I just ran out of pictures to keep posting. I'm like, I don't really even like this. I like pictures. I can appreciate pictures. I like art. I can appreciate art. But yeah, as far as me having to produce it to put out for everyone else to see, I don't do that, And come to find out, years later, after I stopped putting things on my wall, I actually really like video editing. So there's my version of it. That's moving pictures, everybody. In case you didn't know, that's moving pictures. So anyways, now that I've insulted your intelligence, let's go ahead and have our last drink. If you got, I'm drinking bottoms up. Cheers, everybody. Alrighty, that's going to do it for me. Go football. Go puppies. Go NASCAR. Go UFC. Go Team USA. And I'm ready for baseball. That's all I got. Alrighty, guys. I will talk to you next week. I love you all. Be safe out there. Don't drink and drive. Treat yourself to an Uber. Treat yourself to a Lyft. Bye!